In this video, we're going to talk about individuals and types of variables of a data set. When you're given a data set, you're going to be given a lot of information. Part of the information is going to be who or what the data set's about, and the other part are going to be a whole bunch of characteristics about those objects. So in statistics, we distinguish between those two. We call the individuals the objects that are described by a data set, and those could be people, animals, things, any sort of noun, and the variable are any characteristics of those individuals. And they're things that usually take different values for different individuals. So as an example of a data set, I have the Massachusetts politicians as of August 2019, and this is not an exhaustive list of politicians. This is only the politicians that represent Roxbury Community College. So we have Charlie Baker, who's the governor of Massachusetts, Marty Walsh, who's the mayor of Boston, Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, who are currently the United States Senators. Ayanna Pressley is currently the United States Representative. Kim Janey is the city councilor for the district that RCC is in. And Sonia Chang Diaz and Elizabeth Malia Sonia Chang Diaz is a state senator, and Elizabeth Malia is the state representative at Roxbury Community College. In this chart here, we have a bunch of information: the position held, the political party, the age, the yearly salary, the number of terms served, and the birthplace of the politician. And so the question becomes, which are the individuals and which are the variables? And why don't you pause the video right now? I'll give you a second to try to think about which one is the individual and which one are the variables. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to think about it. And the individuals, remember, are who or what the data set is about. And right now this is about the Massachusetts politicians. And these are those politicians, right? So these are the individuals: Charlie Baker, Marty Walsh, Elizabeth Warren, Ed Markey, Ayanna Pressley, Kim Janey, Sonia Chang Diaz, and Elizabeth Malia. Those are the individuals. And everything else is a variable. That's a characteristic about these people, right? The position they hold is a variable. The political party they belong to is a variable. The age they are is a variable. The yearly salary that they make is a variable. The number of terms they've served in their position, that is a variable. And the birthplace is a variable. So hopefully you can see from this that there are sort of different types of variables, or maybe you can't. Like sometimes they have number answers, for example, and sometimes they don't have number answers. And so we break variables up into these two different types. One is called a categorical, which is sometimes called a qualitative variable, and that is a variable that places individuals into one of several groups or categories. So for example, gender is usually a categorical variable, right? People can identify as male or female or something else. That is just a category that they're placed into, right? Religious affiliation might be another one, right? You can identify as Jewish or Christian or Muslim or Hindu or all sorts of different types of religion, right? That's just a category you're being placed into. Quantitative and numerical variables, on the other hand, those are variables that have a number answer where it makes sense to do math to them. For example, the weight, right? If one person weighs 100 pounds, another person weighs 200 pounds, you can find an average weight, right? 100 plus 200 is 300, divided by 2 is 150 pounds. So something like that, something that takes a number that it makes sense to find an average of, that is a quantitative or numerical number. So why don't we look at that data set we had before, and we've already identified that these are the individuals, right? So they're not variables, but the rest of this stuff are variables, right? So why don't you pause the video right now and try to figure out which of these are categorical variables and which these are quantitative variables. And I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to pause the video. Hopefully you have a chance to take a guess at whether they're categorical or quantitative variables. So we'll start at the beginning. Remember, name, these are the individuals, not a variable, so we're going to skip that. Position, though, position is a categorical variable, right? It places them into different categories, right? Charlie Baker is our governor. Marty Walsh is our mayor. Our state senator, our United States senators are Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, so on and so forth. That is categories they're being placed into. Political party is also categorical, right? We have one Republican and a whole bunch of Democrats. Not very surprising for Massachusetts. But those are just categories they're being placed into. Age, on the other hand, age is quantitative, right? Because we could find, if we wanted to, the average age of an elected official who is representing Roxbury Community College, right? And that would be something that would make sense to do. Same thing with yearly salary. Yearly salary is a quantitative variable, right? It's represented by a number, and it would make sense to be talking about the average yearly salary. The number of terms served, again, is a quantitative variable. We would be, it makes sense to talk about the average number of terms served somebody has had, or the most number of terms served, or the least number of terms served. And then last but not least, we have the birthplace. We have the birthplace of the elected officials. And this would be a categorical variable, right? It wouldn't make sense to find the average birthplace or add Elmira, Texas to Boston, Massachusetts, for example. That just doesn't make any sense. So that is a categorical variable. One last bonus thing I want to point out to you about this. This happens in data sets a lot, unfortunately. There's incomplete information. So Kim Janey is the city councilwoman for the district that Roxbury Community College is currently in. And I tried really hard to get information about her. I tried to get her age and her birthplace. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe this is the first political position she's ever held, and I believe she was elected fairly recently to when this video was being made. So I don't think there's as much information out about her as there are other people. So I don't know how old she is, and I don't know where she was born. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes you get incomplete data, and that's real life. We gotta go with what we gotta go with. All right. Well, I hope that this video helps to identify what an individual is versus a variable, and furthermore to classify whether variables are categorical or quantitative.